Welcome back to the channel, Bridging the Gap Student to Engineer, where STEM professionals provide advice to students. This video is the first one we've made in a while, but it's going to answer the question of, is it okay to major in general engineering? Um, Most of the time we talk about engineering, we talk about specific disciplines, but there are schools that just offer general engineering. So the real question is that okay? Are students successful in that? Or do you need to major in a specific discipline? So let's get right into it. So let's define general engineering. It is comprehensive, it's interdisciplinary, and it's flexible. It gives students a broad exposure to many different areas of engineering. It generally incorporates several different disciplines, and they're unique programs, and students can often design unique programs that can meet their interests. So this can be good if you're looking at schools that only have specific disciplines and you're not really interested in those disciplines. Going to a school with general engineering or choosing the general engineering at the school can give you more flexibility. But regardless, like all engineering, it gives students the ability to identify, formulate, and solve complex engineering problems by applying principles of engineering, science, and math. So without a specific discipline, you're still getting those basic skills of applying principles to problems to solve them and to make the world a better place. So the ABET curriculum, actually ABET defines a curriculum for general engineering. It does recognize that this is an area. We will get more into ABET accreditation and whether or not you need to do that, but if you go to an ABET accredited general engineering program, you can expect them to meet all of these guidelines that we'll go over. I will provide the link in the description to the ABET website where you can filter and see all of the schools in the US and actually around the world that are ABET accredited for general engineering. So what ABET says a general engineering program needs to include is 30+ semester hours of math and science, basic science, and then 45 semester hours of engineering topics. So appropriate to the program. They let the schools define that, but they need to be 45 credit hours. So you want to cover engineering, computer sciences, engineering design, and using modern engineering tools. And then they also say that you need a broad education component. So this is where you get your humanities and those types of things that really the school can shape into whatever. ABET does not define how many credit hours that needs to be, so that'll be unique to each program. And then, like all ABET accredited programs, you have to have a culminating major engineering design experience. Usually this is called something like capstone or senior design or something like that. It's usually either a year or a semester where you're working in a group. And as ABET says, you're incorporating appropriate engineering standards and multiple constraints. Usually it's a real life problem that you're solving. And then it's going to be based on all the knowledge and skills you've acquired through your engineering education. And this is to show that you can bring it all together and apply it to real world problems. So regardless of what general engineering program you go to, as long as it's ABET, it's going to cover these general things. And so while the programs do seem different and the schools can define them differently, they will cover a basic set of things. So we're going to go through a list of schools today. They are mostly private and mostly cover general engineering, but I'm going to cover a few others so that we can have a little bit of comparison. And also I encourage you to look at some of the other videos that cover a lot more big schools and popular schools, and these in this video are a lot smaller. You may not have heard of them, but they are something that's worth checking out. So Trinity College in Connecticut, it's a private school. It offers general engineering. Endicott College in Massachusetts, also private with general engineering. Elon University in North Carolina, the same, private with general engineering. Walla University, we're going to the other side of the country. That's in Washington, but it's still private and with general engineering. And then we're going to compare another small school in Massachusetts, Merrimack College, that is also private but offers discipline-specific engineering. And then the only public school in this video is the University of Vermont, also offers discipline-specific engineering. First school we're looking at is Trinity College in Connecticut, not to be confused with Trinity University in Texas, so make sure you're looking at the right ones. Of all the schools that are on the video today, this one gives us the most information, so we're going to start with it. I actually really like what the school has done for sharing what their alumni are doing afterwards. So they have an article that they published. I will share the link, so please take a look at it. They talk about how they get their data, about their Career and Life Design Center, which looks like a very well put together program and center led by an executive director. And then they talk about their different grads and what they're doing now. So if you look right here, Trinity engineers from the class of 2023 are working at the Naval Undersea Warfare Center, Division Newport, Northrop Grumman, Pratt & Whitney, Raytheon, Deutsche Bank, AT&T, Google. Those are a lot of really good companies. And something I would like to point out is that sometimes people say, oh, general engineering, that's good for people who want to go into finance or something like that. If I just take this at face value and look at the locations that these engineers are going to work for, most of them listed on here are not finance. These are defense and space and those types of companies that really are very good, very technical, and it's a good place for engineers to end up, regardless of their school and regardless of their discipline. So if we look at the data that Trinity provides, they have a dynamic dashboard, which is great. I really like these. I was able to sort by all years. They only have 1 year, so it's 2021. The top employers are different than what was on the previous one because that's the latest data. But I'm doing just STEM majors. So if we look at the donut chart here, 55% of grads are employed full-time, 36 are continuing their education. That percent of continuing education is a little bit higher than most schools. I generally think about 25% as being about average for the percent of students that want to continue their education or who do. And so that's really looking at the positive outcomes. There are a few grads doing service or fellowships, those kind of things. But what we look at is let's subtract off the people who are still seeking employment or still seeking education, and that gives us about a 95% success rate. So that's a really good number. That's up there with the best of the big schools that have all of the specialty engineering and the big programs. So at least what we're looking at in this first school, I would say, getting a general engineering degree from a liberal arts colleges can definitely lead you to good places. If we look a little bit closer at the top employers, we've got General Motors. We have several different medical areas. We do have some of that finance that we talked about, but there's a variety of different companies that are hiring from Trinity College, and these are good technical companies that I think any school would be proud of their grads going there. So let's switch over to the next school. That's Endicott College. This one's a private school in Massachusetts that offers general engineering. As we go away from Trinity, we're going to see less and less data, but what I will show you as I scroll down here is the very high level that Endicott provides. The latest year that they have is 2022, but what they tell us about their 2022 grads is that 100% of their students are required to do 3 internships and a senior thesis. So you know that when you graduate from Endicott, you've got a lot of work experience and then also some sort of senior project type of experience, which is great. and falls in line with that ABET accreditation we talked about. The students from the class of 2022 who had positive outcomes, 99%. One thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is they don't tell you the duration. So typically we'll see 6 months out of school, and we want to see some sort of continuing education or employment after that. Endicott's not telling us when, but they are telling us that 99% of their students have that outcome. So good numbers. These are significantly higher than some of the schools that might have fancier names and have the specific disciplines of engineering. And then 94% of the students reported their jobs are related to their major. So one thing to note on here is that this is not for the School of Engineering. This is general, but if we have this kind of success rate, we can assume that the School of Engineering is pretty high up there with that. But if we go to the engineering program website, you can see a little bit more detail. What Endicott is telling you is that they have various tracks that you can follow if you're in general engineering, which is nice because some of that is predefined for you. And then they're just giving you examples of what careers you could go into without actually giving you tracks focused on that. So that's something to look at when you're looking at general engineering programs. If they are truly just general and undefined and you get to explore and define yourself, or if there's tracks that are defined that you have to pick, or if you can also define something for yourself outside of that. So something to look at when you're looking at programs. But overall, Endicott and Trinity both have very good positive outcome rates for their grads. So far, I'd say going to a school for general engineering is going to be a pretty good option for at least students at those two schools. So let's go on to Elon. This one is in North Carolina and is also private. They have also very, very little information about their grads. So they do feature one student who graduated who's going to be a systems engineer with General Dynamics Mission Systems, so defense and space industry. And like Endicott, they're giving us a percent overall for their grads, not specific to engineering, but a pretty high number. They do define the duration after graduation, but it's a little bit longer than most schools use to get that data. So something to be aware of. But still in the 90s, in the upper 90s. And again, a lot of engineering focused schools don't have numbers these high, so they're pretty good. Switching over to Walla University in the state of Washington, we're again looking at a private school. They have general engineering, their School of Engineering, and if you look at their website, you can have a concentration in a number of different areas. These are actually pretty similar to the concentrations that Endicott advertised. But as we look down at their website, what is noticeable when we're talking about disciplines is they do have professional organizations for specific disciplines, even if they don't have the major available. And then as we scroll down to quick facts. Okay, so quick facts, some of these are about grads and some of them are about scholarships and such. So let me just start with this. 2022 engineering grads are in grad school or engineering within 12 months of graduation. So again, not exactly the same data, also older. 2020 was a harder year to place people, but 98% of their grads have something going on within 12 months of graduation. Still really high numbers. I'm not sure I like the 12 months, but it is something. And this is an impressive number. Okay, and then this is interesting that I have not seen in other schools' advertisements, but they're telling you that the percent of their applicants who are accepted in a medical school of getting an engineering undergrad and a going to medical school afterwards is actually a really good path to becoming some sort of doctor. And so to have that high of acceptance rate in a medical school is great. So not a whole lot of information. Don't like the 12 months. This is really old data, but it does also indicate that, it's not catastrophic to go to these private schools that offer just general engineering. So we switch over to Merrimack College. This is the first one we're going to look at that has discipline-specific degrees. It's still a liberal arts college, but we've got lots of different options and specific degrees rather than general engineering. And again, not a whole lot of details on their student outcomes, but they do have more recent information. 2022, and 99% of their students have positive outcomes within 9 months. So 99% is a very, very good number. That's pretty much what you're going to see at the very best engineering schools. But the 9 months is a little bit longer. I don't think anyone wants to graduate and then be sitting around for 9 months before they get a job or go to school. But still very impressive numbers. So liberal arts school with discipline-specific engineering can also lead you to some successful outcomes. The last school we're going to look at is the University of Vermont. This is the only public school in our video, at least this time. One thing you'll notice right away is that the private schools have fancier websites and don't give as much data. The public school here, and it seems to be the case in a lot of public schools, they're providing a lot more data, but it's just in a PDF, so not quite so fancy, but we will scroll down and find what we need. I've scrolled down to table 2 that talks about class of 2022 success rate, which is what we were looking for. On other tables, it told me that this is based on 83% of students responding. So that's a very good representative sample. But in the engineering grads, 94% are either in school or have a job. So that's really good numbers. So this school also offers discipline-specific engineering. And if we ask the question, is it okay to be in general engineering versus discipline-specific? I'd say I'd seeing the very similar results through all of these. And the students who are going to those small liberal arts colleges and getting a well-rounded education are being just as successful as students who are going to large universities with very specific engineering. Now that we've looked at all the schools, I want to cover some basic things to know about choosing a discipline or a major within STEM. I have this same slide on another video where I go over more general information. I'm going to go over it specifically for general engineering, but I'll provide the link here on the top, so be sure to check out that video. So there's a lot of overlap between disciplines. I know there seems to be, like a lot of specialties, but there are a lot of areas that overlap. And so if you're doing general engineering, you're able to get more of those overlaps and integrate a lot more things. Your degree does not define you and will likely not define your career. You aren't your degree. You might say I'm an electrical engineer or I'm an engineer, but that's not really defining you. And so picking a school for other reasons besides just it's the one very niche thing that you've always dreamt of is not going to change where you can go with your career in the future. And then I've talked about this in other videos, but a general degree, in this case, general engineering, is not going to prevent you from going into a specific specialty. There are a lot of general engineers, as we saw in some of the data sets from the schools. If you get a general engineering degree, you can still go into those companies that you wanted to go work for. There's nothing preventing you from going into a either a company or a discipline or an industry that really attracted you to engineering. Understand industry supply versus demand, but don't base everything on it. This one actually is a good sell for general engineering because you have such a broad base that you're able to fit into disciplines that maybe there's more demand for and less supply, and you're not stuck in a discipline that maybe has too many people going into it at the time. So this gives you a little bit more options. And there's an amazing variety of jobs in STEM. I usually say for every job you know about, there's about 1,500 you never heard of. So getting a general engineering degree is going to open up a lot of jobs for you that you just don't even know. So move forward, get an education, go experience things, and enjoy discovering. Interpersonal skills are often more important than technical skills when you're looking at advancement. I've seen this being the case over and over and over again. If you think about the people that you want to work with or the people that you want to be your leaders are not generally the people who are necessarily the best technically. Those are the people with the good people skills. So if you can get that at a liberal arts school, majoring in general engineering, you might actually be better off than if you went to a school where you didn't have as much exposure to growing your interpersonal skills. And your career path will lead you places you can't imagine now. Just go make it happen. Go choose a school, jump right in, enjoy it, and find your way. Thank you for listening to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe and share with friends. And we will see you on the next one.